Hey, it's Elizabeth Brown, the Kitchen Vixen, and yes, I've made some changes to my kitchen and obviously to my camera angle because I removed my dishwasher, which is my kitty cat's landing pad, so that changed their whole perspective on things. I wanted to get rid of at least 75% of my clothing and shoes. I probably got rid of more than that in shoes. Box up the really good stuff and I send it to an eBay store called Linda Stuff where I bought a lot of my items, so I'm kind of hoping to resell it for even just a little bit of money would be great. And then I have a bunch of bags for donation. The organizer guy that was working with me, John, the spatial guy, said that he saw somebody throwing clothes out of the window in one of our apartments. And I'm like, oh, maybe somebody got in a fight. And he's like, no, they were throwing it to the homeless people. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. In line with my spring cleaning in late summer, I'm going to be making spring rolls. And I'm still on my OMAD kick, which I hope to continue because I pretty much just make one meal when I do my recipes for video anyway. And I'm still on the salmon and peanut sauce kick, but with fresh salmon, same old peanut sauce. Usually spring rolls are cold ingredients, sometimes maybe with tofu or shrimp, usually with a sauce, and usually raw ingredients. I'm going to cook my ingredients because I have some collard greens, some sweet potato, which you could eat raw, not yams though. But we traditionally don't have yams in our country, supposedly. Like in the store, if it's indicated as a yam, it might be incorrectly labeled because they're not very common. I'm gonna try some matchstick technique here. Really thin slices, thinner than the ones I had before, probably like half as thin, and just teeny tiny little cuts. It's kind of fun too to practice so you get to your rocking motion with the cutting. Don't forget to tuck your fingers. Hey, I know what to do. It doesn't mean I always do it. I'm not perfect. I have not cut myself. Knock on wood. Not bad. See those little cuts? One day I might try to do an overhead camera angle. I always say kind of just use what you have. So like when you're trying to change healthy habits and people say to me, Elizabeth, give me a diet. Give me some recipes. Well, the recipes I can do for sure. And the diet thing I am kind of putting in my book, but you have to always consider what you're already doing because that's what you know. And what you know is what you're always going to go back to. So it's better to start with where you are and move from there and start incorporating healthy habits into your already established eating habit. What I'm building up first is my mise en place, which is French for everything in its place. So I got my little matchsticks. I don't have a steaming basket, but I got this little colander and a little bit of water in my saucepan. Put a lid on, bring it to a boil, and then I'm gonna add the salmon and just steam it and add the collards as well. All right, so I got my nice cut of wild salmon. Let that steam 6 minutes. So I'm taking my collard greens and just roll it up. Kind of reminds me of like the I Love Lucy episode. Of course, everything reminds me of an I Love Lucy episode. When Lucy went to Havana, they were rolling cigars. You know, the tobacco leaves look like a big collard green leaf. Imagine that you could eat tobacco. It would have a horrible effect. I took one puff of a cigarette one time and it made me so sick. And I got my little chiffonade. In traditional spring rolls, you might have cabbage, definitely like some herbs like mint or even basil sometimes. At least every other day, you should have a source of beta carotene, so something orange. So a vegetable like carrots, sweet potatoes, and then of course your leafy greens are also excellent sources of all your carotenoids. It's just the green color, the chlorophyll masks the color that you would see as carotenoids. I got a nice little bowl of matchstick size little sweet potatoes. Okay, so I got my little peppers, seeds and all. When you chop up things, especially things that you're gonna be making like an assembly line, put everything in little bowls so you have your mise en place. I got my sweet potatoes and my little peppers. Okay. And all I need is some hot water and a moist towel. So my salmon's still translucent in the middle. It's like pink on the outside. I got 3 minutes left. I don't know if it's enough time, but I'm gonna add my greens anyway. Let me chop up some dill. I don't know how this is gonna work, but I know dill goes with salmon, so I just thought I had some dill I was gonna use. I always have these great intentions to make all these recipes, and then I'm always missing some ingredient or missing the wherewithal to do it. Like I just didn't feel like doing my zucchini fritters again because I ate them a couple times and I'm like, that's why I need to film things like on the fly like this because I don't have, first of all, the budget or the time and energy to make stuff just for the heck of it. I have to make stuff that I'm actually going to eat and that I'm in the mood for. So I'm in the mood for spring rolls. I have a couple of the ingredients. I already made the peanut sauce. I love the smell of dill. Okay, the greens are definitely done. I went for a run today. The dill, lots of greens, carotenoids. It's gotta wait for that fish to be done. What else? My peanut sauce. So I'm gonna take this to work with me. So let's smaller jar. Oh, that's what started the whole thing is like I started cleaning out my jars and then I'm like, I really wanna clean out my kitchen and I really wanna get rid of some clothes. And my fish is almost done. I can just flake it away and just let it cook. Pretty much just flake the salmon. I hope you can see how simple this is. There's like no hard, fast rules with healthy cooking. I really believe the secret's in the sauce. I brought up my time as a private chef. I would always cook my fresh food in the house, but I would create my recipes at night or the morning before I would go. The one thing I tried to do was always have like a repertoire of sauces, like different salad dressings or marinades. I mean, things that I could throw together quickly to flavor healthy food. And that's what it comes down to, is just having great flavoring agents. I'm actually going to use my fish water, my soaking water. My energy is more calm today than normal because spring rolls, probably because they're like an Eastern culture food, I feel like require like a calm energy. So the first thing you want to do is take the spring roll wrapper, and this is brown rice, and you soak it in the bowl. You can see, all right, and then you got to smush it around until it gets soft and pliable. And the water is really hot, so be very careful. Hi, Basil. Set it on a moist towel. Put some little sweet potatoes in there. A little bit of sweet potato, a little bit of collard greens, some dill, little peppers, and some fish. Dude, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of myself, my future self, who's going to love the heck out of these things. Dude, they're gonna be so good. So perfect. Okay. They're so cute. I love making spring rolls. This is something I made in culinary school, but I actually knew how to make before I went to culinary school, is when I lived in Ocean City, Maryland. And when I tell my stories, I'm always like, I moved here and I moved there because of a boyfriend, not with a boyfriend usually, but I actually moved to Ocean City, Maryland with a boyfriend at the time. But when I was living in Ocean City, Maryland, my boyfriend at the time was a physician. There was a physician in his practice who was Filipino. And now living in California, I know lots of Filipino people, but being from Pennsylvania, I only ever met one Filipino person in my life. And it was when I was in college, and there was a girl named Belinda, and I can't remember her brother's name, but Belinda and her brother who were Filipino. And I remember thinking it was so cool that they looked Asian to me, but they had these like Hispanic last names, and I was like, never met anybody like them before. And so anyway, so they were the first ones I knew. And then the second set of people I knew was this physician in Ocean City, Maryland, and his wife. And they didn't show me how to make spring rolls, but they used to make them. So his wife explained to me how it was done, and then I just did it. It was because of my second Filipino experience that I learned how to make spring rolls. And now I have lots of friends in healthcare that are Filipino. And I love them because they all like have the same taste in shoes and clothing that I have. So like when I go to work, they'll be like, ooh, which shoes are those? They like my taste, which I appreciate. Marnie is my favorite shoe designer. Make a call somewhere, and the person on the other line, I could tell they're from the Philippines, and I'll be like, oh, salamat, paalam. And they're like, how do you know Tagalog? Because my friends speak Tagalog. It's a bad one because this is like the worst piece. And my friends Sheena and her sister Katrina, they're both dietary supervisors who are going to school to be dietitians. So I'm so happy that I did have some influence on them, because I think being a dietitian is a wonderful career, and I strongly encourage it. It's such a great career for a woman, because it's very empowering. It's a really independent job, but you use your brain. It's very engaging. I don't have any more greens, so I'm just gonna throw them whatever I have here. So Sheena and Katrina are sisters. I think they have two other sisters. I went to both their weddings, so I know their whole family. Their uncle is Pacquiao, but I didn't get to meet him. But anyway, they're the sweetest girls ever, who are going to be dietitians, just like me. Okay, so this is like the worst one because the spring roll is falling apart. But all right, there we go. I have my little glass lock containers. Perfect. Spring rolls to go. Salmon, matchstick sweet potatoes, dill, collard greens, and chicito peppers, and peanut sauce. This is Elizabeth Brown, the Kitchen Vixen. What's my sign off? I don't have one. I usually have a song. In life, in my cooking show, in relationships, whatever I go through, when things don't go my way, people think that I get like put off or whatever, and I'm just like, psh, whatever. If at first you don't succeed, you can dust it off and try again. Dust yourself off and try again, try again. Just remember that. And Aaliyah is my girl because we have the same birthday. Unfortunately, she's not with us anymore, but if at first you don't succeed, oh, you can dust it off and try again. Dust yourself off and try again, try again. All right, gotta go. Bye.